Welcome to This Explainer. Have you ever felt like you're doing absolutely everything right? You're working hard, you're budgeting carefully, but you just kind of can't seem to get ahead? Well, today we're decoding a massive hidden truth about your money. You see, the biggest obstacle to your financial freedom isn't your income, it's not inflation, and it's certainly not bad luck. It's actually your 200,000-year-old brain software. The exact same brain that kept your ancestors alive through brutal winters and famines is the one running your financial life today. And as we're about to discover, it is actively fighting to keep you broke. But don't worry, because by the end of this journey, you're going to understand exactly how to rewrite that ancient code.
So, picture this everyday scenario. You're just going about your day, checking your accounts, and boom, you realize you just received a surprise bonus of exactly $1,000. Immediately, you feel this wave of intense relief. Your shoulders drop. You exhale a breath you didn't even know you were holding. And you tell yourself, okay, this is great. I am going to be incredibly responsible and save every single penny of this for my future. Your intentions are absolutely bulletproof. You genuinely believe that this time, for sure, you'll do the smart, rational thing.
But fast forward just a few hours later, you're casually scrolling online. You aren't even really looking to shop. Yet a new phone catches your eye, and right there on the screen, bright red, flashing text appears, flash sale, only 3 hours left. Suddenly, your pulse quickens, your pupils actually dilate, your breathing gets slightly shallower. This urgent countdown triggers something incredibly primal deep inside of you, making the act of buying it feel less like a choice and way more like an absolute necessity. That rational plan you made just 3 hours ago, it vanishes. If you don't act now, this rare opportunity is gone forever. Your brain is literally screaming at you to secure this resource before someone else does.
A week goes by and poof, the money is entirely gone. The excitement of the purchase completely evaporated the second you open the box. And now you're left staring at your bank account, wondering why holding on to cash feels like you are physically fighting your own biology. Why is saving money always so incredibly difficult, while spending it happens so effortlessly? It feels like self-sabotage, right? But the reality is actually far more complex. You aren't weak, you don't lack discipline, you're simply fighting a losing battle against millennia of human evolution.
Okay, let's dive into exactly why this happens by looking at what we can call the ancient survival trap. To really understand the hardware we're all running on, we need to travel back in time, long before banks, credit cards, or retirement accounts even existed. This is where we find a massive evolutionary mismatch. Your Stone Age ancestors lived in an entirely unpredictable, highly dangerous world. If they found food or resources, the absolute best survival strategy was immediate consumption. You ate the fruit right now because tomorrow there might be a famine or, you might get eaten by a predator. But modern humans live in a completely different reality. We live in an era of 24/7 availability where true wealth is built through compound growth. And compound growth requires extreme, calculated patience. So the exact instinct that kept your ancestors alive is the very thing actively sabotaging your modern wealth building.
And that brings us right into understanding the scarcity mindset. What's really fascinating here is that when you feel broke, your brain actually changes the way it physically processes information through a cognitive phenomenon called tunneling. When your brain perceives scarcity, whether it's a lack of calories or lack of cash, it throws you into an intense survival mode. It becomes so hyper-obsessed with immediate needs that your literal cognitive capacity for long-term thinking physically shrinks. Just like a starving person absolutely cannot focus on a 10-year retirement plan, financial stress forces your brain to seek immediate, short-term emotional relief. So that random impulse buy, it's really just your brain looking for a quick hit of dopamine to alleviate the intense stress of feeling broke, completely hijacking your logic in the process.
And the terrifying truth is that scarcity physically consumes your cognitive resources. Look at this. A staggering 90% of your mental energy gets devoured by immediate survival and scarcity concerns. That leaves a tiny 10% fraction for complex, critical tasks like long-term financial planning. This completely shatters the myth that highly educated people don't struggle financially. They absolutely do. And it's not because they lack intelligence, but because this ancient programming steals their focus and bandwidth whenever that feeling of scarcity is triggered.
Your brain basically operates like a computer with way too many heavy programs running in the background. It freezes up exactly when you need it to perform.
Now let's talk about the exact chemical that modern companies weaponize against you every single day, your brain on dopamine. To truly understand why we spend, we have to look at dopamine. Now, most people completely misunderstand this, thinking of it as the happiness chemical. It's actually not. It is the neurochemical of anticipation, desire, and motivation. It's that overwhelming feeling of wanting. Thousands of years ago, a spike of dopamine is what pushed us off the cave floor to hunt for food. But today, every single app notification, social media alert, and limited time offer hijacks this exact same ancient system to create artificial urgency. They are successfully hacking your evolutionary drive to seek out scarce resources.
Consider this classic psychological dilemma. Choice A gives you $100 right now, today. Choice B gives you $120 next month. Logically, getting a guaranteed 20% return in just 30 days is an incredible, almost impossible investment. Waiting clearly produces a vastly better financial outcome. But for millions of people, their emotions just scream at them to take the immediate payout. The dopamine surge from getting something right now completely overpowers the mathematical cold logic of waiting.
The scientific term for this cognitive glitch is present bias. It's our deeply ingrained evolutionary tendency to value immediate rewards far more heavily than distant future rewards. Because our ancestors couldn't rely on an uncertain future, saving and investing actually contradict thousands of years of human conditioning. This is a pretty profound realization when you think about it. Building wealth feels inherently uncomfortable because you are literally acting against your own biological programming. Whenever you try to save, a very old part of your brain sounds an alarm, warning you that you're giving up a tangible resource today for a tomorrow that might never actually come. But it doesn't stop there. We also have to deal with the comparison curse.
You see, our brains aren't just obsessed with immediate rewards, they are intensely obsessed with our status within the tribe. And this introduces a terrifying psychological trap called hedonic adaptation. It's the human tendency to quickly normalize any improvement in our lives. What was once an extraordinary, mind-blowing luxury almost instantly becomes the new expected baseline. This is exactly why so many lottery winners ultimately go bankrupt. They buy the mansion, the sports cars, the designer clothes. But incredibly quickly, the brain adapts, the thrill vanishes, the goalpost moves. Suddenly, making $100,000 a year feels like agonizing poverty if all your new neighbors are multimillionaires. You're forced to spend more just to feel normal.
And here's the kicker. Entire global industries are purposefully engineered to profit from these very behaviors, actively preventing your wealth accumulation. Fast fashion pushes constant microtrends to trigger your deep-seated fear of losing social status. Mobile gaming uses artificial scarcity and flashing rewards to create urgent, dopamine-fueled spending loops. Luxury brands purposely restrict their supply to artificially inflate perceived status and exclusivity. These billion-dollar empires thrive precisely because they have mapped the evolutionary buttons inside your head and they press them relentlessly. You are bringing a prehistoric brain to a fight against supercomputers optimized to empty your wallet.
So what do we do about it? Let's talk about reprogramming your brain. The good news is we don't have to be victims of our biology. Evolution heavily influences your behavior, sure, but it does not dictate your destiny. To truly achieve financial freedom, you must acknowledge that every major wealth-building principle actively challenges what feels natural. Your brain's ancient instincts scream, spend now, follow the crowd, avoid all uncertainty. But the investor's mindset requires the exact opposite. You have to wait patiently, think completely independently of the herd, and manage risk intelligently. True financial success literally means getting entirely comfortable with doing the uncomfortable thing.
So how do we systematically outsmart our own DNA? The secret is abandoning willpower altogether. Think about it. In a fair fight between your daily willpower and a 200,000-year-old survival instinct, the instinct is going to win every single time. Successful wealth builders remove daily decision-making entirely by creating automated financial systems. By setting up automatic investing, direct savings transfers, strict spending limits, and mandatory 24-hour delayed purchasing rules, they quietly redirect resources toward the future. You build the machine, and you let the machine do the right thing, ensuring your ancient brain never even gets the opportunity to make the wrong choice. Automation is literally the ultimate antidote to human biology.
I really believe the greatest financial breakthrough you will ever have is understanding that the most powerful force affecting your money has been inside your head all along. Once you recognize that your sudden financial urges are just outdated survival instincts attempting to use prehistoric tools to solve modern problems, a massive weight lifts. You can finally forgive yourself for past mistakes. You can stop fighting your own nature, let go of the guilt, and start systematically designing a wealthier future. The game was totally rigged against you from birth, but once you see the strings, you can finally cut them.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to critically reflect on your own life for a second. What is one money habit you have desperately struggled to break simply because it feels so natural in the moment? I want you to identify that one ancient instinct holding you back and commit to building an automated system to override it today. Yes, your brain might be hardwired for prehistoric scarcity, but you now possess the exact blueprint to wire your modern life for absolute abundance. The software can be rewritten, the choice is yours.